Jai Gurudev and good evening and a warm welcome from Sri Sri University. Due to some technical issues, we had to delay it by a few moments, but now we are back. So first of all, I would like to welcome all our osteopaths who are present with us today for the session. Can we have a gallery view in the back end, please? So welcome to Health Connect, a conversation with Indian osteopaths. You know, many of you must have heard this term osteopathy for the first time. Indeed, in 2015, for the first time in the history of India, osteopathy as a full-fledged program was introduced in Sri Sri University, Cuttack, Odisha. Osteopathy, in fact, is one of the fastest growing healthcare professions in the US and in the Europe, and now it is gaining tremendous acceptance not only in India but globally, especially because of its non-invasive form of diagnosis and treatment. So what is this osteopathy all about? How is the treatment made? How is the diagnosis made? And how are patients being treated? So this session is all about that. It's an interaction with those osteopaths who have been a part of the university and who have graduated from here and have been treating patients across the country. So today, to begin with, I would like to have a short introduction of each of our panel members. To start with, I would like to introduce Dr. Deepta Pandala. Welcome, Dr. Deepta. Dr. Deepta is from the charter batch of osteopathy at Sri Sri University. After completing her MBBS, she did her biodynamic craniosacral therapy, and then she did her master's in osteopathy in Sri Sri University. She has also been the gold medalist of the first batch and has worked for a year as a faculty in the Department of Osteopathy before getting married. Settled in Hyderabad now, she is currently a consultant osteopath at Kshetran School. Welcome, Dr. Deepta. Introducing next is Dr. Ankita Delia. Ankita is also an MBBS and she also practices neurokinetic therapy, Bach flower remedy, also emotional freedom technique. She's presently the program director at Sri Sri School of Healing Hearts, and she's also been designing the craniosacral therapy there. Welcome, Dr. Ankita. Coming up next is Dr. Prajakta. Dr. Prajakta also completed her MBBS and then she studied Masters in Osteopathy at Sri Sri University. She has also been the gold medalist of the second batch and currently she is the faculty in the Department of Osteopathy at Sri Sri University. Welcome, Prajakta. And next is Dr. Apurva Dagar. Dr. Apurva. Yes. So Dr. Apurva also completed her MBBS and she is currently in her final year of Masters in Osteopathy at Sri Sri University. Welcome, Dr. Apurva, for the session. So to start with, I would like to start with Dr. Deepta by asking a few questions. Dr. Deepta, are we ready? You can unmute yourself. So Deepta, how has been your understanding of health and disease changed from your previous MBBS background, especially after learning and practicing osteopathy?
Okay, yeah. So this has been a very interesting journey for me. Am I audible? Okay. So right from the beginning, I've been wondering what health was, even as an allopathic doctor, what is health, where is health? But I was always wondering, how can I find health? But then when I came to osteopathy, that's where I found answer. How can we find health rather than just focusing on the symptoms? My approach towards a patient became holistic. Like if somebody is coming with a stomach ache, my approach my thought process has gone beyond the level of, okay, the stomach ache, maybe because, or maybe because of any restriction in their uh, viscera, any emotional problem. So I can go beyond their complaint and understand where the root cause is. So that's how it really helped me to go beyond and find it. Yeah. Uh,
Okay. So, Dr. Deepta, how has this manual osteopathy treatment enhanced your skills as an allopath?
Yeah, this is a very interesting thing, because in osteopathy, what I learned was a very, very fine level of palpation, where we have to feel the human body, and we can actually feel the live status of health of every organ. So when I'm actually palpating or understanding this, this is at a different level than understanding, how the quality. I'll tell you, the quality of the palpatory diagnosis has improved a lot.
Yeah, because this is a question which many people ask, that when we talk about the non-invasiveness of the treatment. So this is a question that they have, that how do you manually are you able to diagnose something, and that too at such a deep level?
Yes. Yeah, see, because this has never been introspected into. Our hands are very, very powerful. Even in the Vedas, they have said that the hand has power of understanding and sensing. Like when you are very mad or upset, if your mother or somebody comes and hugs, the the way your body responds, the way you share your emotions, the way your illness comes down is much more faster and much more quicker than somebody just teases you and hits you from the back and say, hey, how are you? So that just the touch can play a lot of difference in how the body responds to the doctor's touch. So this is something very unique, which I learned. The quality of your touch, the way you palpate, with what intention you are understanding and approaching a patient, can bring out so much information from that patient. So if you don't get a correct information, the diagnosis which you can do can also come down, right? This makes pretty sense. So the quality of the touch, the quality of palpation, where you understand of the anatomy and physiology, the material knowledge, and also the intention with which you want to help the person come out. Yeah. So this is a very fine level of palpation which we are taught for 2 years, and we practice, and that really made a deep understanding on the quality of the treatment and the diagnosis. Yeah. And the learning which we had was very, very practical. We have studied on different healthy people first, so we worked on each other, we understood the health first, and then when we actually go and understand where is the illness, we can find out it very easily.
Yeah. So, Dr. Deepta, you have been treating so many patients. Can you share 2 or 3 experiences of the patients coming up with different type of diseases and how that were treated with osteopathy?
Yeah. Okay. So for the past 3 years, I've been treating with exclusively with osteopathy. Before that, I used to use craniosacral therapy also, but now I have integrated into osteopathy more. So I have been treating people with simple migraines, or people who have menstrual issues or thyroid problems. I've treated cases with difficult, rheumatoid arthritis, and lung capacity has come down. So different kinds of patients I've been treating. Also people with low back ache. Yeah. So one thing I would really like to share is a small baby. She was around 3 months old. So she had thyroid, and It was very for something very new for me, that a small baby having a thyroid, and the mother had thyroid only during her pregnancy. So usually when somebody comes with the thyroid, we usually check their TSH levels and we start with hormonal levels and all. But when I started understanding through the osteopathic perspective, I understood that the problem for that baby with the thyroid was not just because of the thyroid, because of the structural placement of the thyroid, because of the alignment of her cervical spine and also the cranial bones, because the restriction in the cranial bones was not allowing for the free nervous and blood supply for the thyroid and the proper development of the thyroid. So when I started just working with her cranial bones, there are some bones behind your head and on the side, and also there are quite interesting nerves which run behind your neck, behind your ear, on the area of the neck, and all these nerves have a very nice nourish through the fat. Okay, so when we actually helped section which was coming from here, it helped her nervous system to improve, and also her thyroid level has come down in 4 sessions. So this was a really very good thing which I observed. Yeah. And
Wow.
Off late I've been treating many kids. I have seen some changes in the way they speak, the way they socially engage with others, and the way they their digestion improved. Yeah, they sleep better,
Why?
their restlessness come down, some of their seizures have come down. Yeah.
Wow. So we have been receiving a lot of questions from people. Let us see how many questions we can take up in this session. But since you're sharing the experiences, one question which has just come up is, through osteopathy, can even the mental health diseases be cured?
According to me, anybody who wants to be all right should also come from within. Okay, if the person feels that okay, I want to be all right, a doctor can help. Okay, a doctor is a medium to help. Any doctor, you say, no, maybe an osteopath or an allopathic doctor, an Ayurvedic doctor, anybody is an instrument for them to become better in their health. So we are not somebody who change them, just like that. It may look like a miracle, but the miracle is happening within them, not with the doctor actually. Maybe a little bit, but mostly with the person within. So the first most important thing is the person himself or herself should feel that I should become all right. Okay. Okay. Sometimes because of the conditions of their environment or the surroundings or the traumas which they have faced in their childhood, or because of so many reasons, that willpower in them might come down a little. Okay, I can't, I don't want to be all right. So in those cases, maybe one treatment of osteopathy or one or two treatments, or maybe a meditation or a course can help them to become better, right? So we can help them to become gain willpower back and go back in the direction of their health. But if they are not willing to, nobody can help. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Deepta. I'll come back again to you. Coming up next is to the next question to Dr. Ankita. So, Dr. Ankita, you being the program director, especially in designing the CST program, this is a question which many people are asking us. How can you really differentiate between CST and osteopathy? And if you have already learned CST, is it really required to learn osteopathy?
I would like to say here that osteopathy is the big brother of CST. So, osteopathy is the root from where CST originated. So, CST, for people who don't know what CST is, it is craniosacral therapy. The person who founded craniosacral therapy, Dr. William Garner Sutherland, he was an osteopath first. And his whole of the philosophy of craniosacral therapy is based in the philosophy of osteopathy. Whatever he learned in osteopathy, he kind of used it and specialized it more in, with his observations with the cranial bones. Cranial bones are the bones of our skull, which are supposed to be absolutely very rigid and fused. But he realized there is some movement to it. So then he developed something called osteopathy in the cranial field. When osteopaths are practicing it, then it is called osteopathy in the cranial field. And because it was so simple that anyone could learn it and practice it without having a very strong background in anatomy and physiology. See, as an osteopath, osteopathy is a very, very skilled thing where you have to know your anatomy and physiology well. You can't like not know where a vertebra is and want to fix it and want to put it in place. But CST gets a little, I would say it is a little more subtle. It is not as gross, and a little your hand going up and down or a little position wise not being so specific is okay. It is pardonable in craniosacral therapy. So it was open to people in general. So when someone who's not an osteopath is practicing it, it is called craniosacral therapy. When a skilled osteopath is practicing it, it is called osteopathy in the cranial field. But I would say like osteopathy is a whole fruit platter. Out of that, one variety of fruit, one apple or one banana would be craniosacral therapy. So you can't really separate it out totally. Like as an osteopath and a craniosacral therapist, both, for me, both are very much together and mingled. So, there is no fight between the two, and one complements the other. One is like a little more subtle form, and one is like a little more gross form. And even with osteopathy, you can keep going subtler and subtler and subtler as you practice. So, yeah, one big difference I can say is that osteopathy, you need to have a medical background. You have to be a physiotherapist or a doctor, allopathic doctor or an Ayurvedic doctor or a dentist. You have to know your anatomy and physiology well to do it. Now our university has even opened it up to people who are non-doctors. They can join in from bachelor's right after they have done their physics, chemistry, biology in the 12th standard, and they can get this knowledge of anatomy, physiology, train themselves, and then get their full osteopathy degree. So that is like a little difference. But craniosacral therapy has originated out of osteopathy. The roots of craniosacral therapy are very much embedded in osteopathy.
I think this answers the questions of many who have been asking this question. Thank you so much for that. So Ankita, you have been now practicing osteopathy since the past 2 to 3 years, traveling to so many places. How are you seeing the demand of osteopathy in this country? And if you can also share some experiences with the patients while you're treating them.
So demand, I would say, is really, really high. It is, like we have less osteopaths and more demand all over the country, I would say. In fact, even at our ashram setup, at our hospital, we have a Dr. Pranoti who's here. We have Dr. Sia who's here. And, we have so many more patients and we are all full, and we still have to reject few and send them back or, give them a later date. Because sometimes the demand is so much. If your product is good, Gayatri, the thing is that automatically the thing spreads. I have noticed that initially the word, just by word of mouth and just by people's experiences of their treatment, the word was spread out about osteopathy. And then there would be so many people. You have one person who benefits and he really realizes that there is so much of relief that a person can get in after a treatment, that they want all their family, all their friends to experience. And then they spread the word out, and it is like so many people want to come to you and take a session. And like how Dr. Deepta was mentioning earlier, that it is so much more holistic. You don't see a stomach ache just like a stomach ache, and so many other aspects of the body, the mind, and all other levels of our being are enhanced and improved after a treatment, that the demand is too much. A lot of people just want to come to check it out because it is something new, and a lot more people who have had an experience of it, they just want to send all their friends, all their family. And a lot of awareness is increasing now with social media, with so many more people learning it. There is a lot of awareness that is increasing now about these treatments.
Yeah, very true. So Ankita, while studying in Srisha University, you all have been exposed to highly senior osteopaths from different continents. How has been that experience with you?
I would really tell you it was a blessing. because like right now also I'm really passionate about learning. So I keep going out, I keep going, say, to Europe or to Singapore and some other places to keep learning new things. And I see, so say, everyone who's from UK will follow one format, which is the British School of Osteopathy format or the British College of Osteopathic Medicine format. A Canadian school will follow one format. The American school will follow one format. The Australian school will follow one format. And all these formats have something really good within them. We were blessed to have people coming in from the US, from the, from UK. We had Dr. Kirti Mathur coming in. We had Fransu and Maria ma'am. They all coming in from Spain. And we had, so we had people from all over. We had people from South America. Uh, our teacher, our resident teacher, Dr. Wan, he's from, Argentina. So we have an amalgamation of good from all of these. So we had the blessing of getting the best of all the worlds and have a package that would have a little tidbits from all of these places. So it has really been a blessing where we could inculcate knowledge from so many different fields and so many different schools and so many different views. And one thing I would add, Gayatri, it was never at conflict. It was all that could be really blended together and something nice would come out of a treatment. So it's really a blessing that I think in the whole world, only and only Sri Sri University has been able to provide. Because we are so open to teachers from all over the world. And now from India also, of course, if we include Deepta and Prajakta and, Dr. Deepta, Dr. Prajakta. So even from India now. So it's truly the best of East and a lot of West.
That's
Yeah.
true. So can you share one experience? I know you have like plenty, but one experience with your patient and when you were treating some really different kind of a disease.
Yeah. So, okay, I would tell you someone with, so I had this lady with so she had come in that, all my reports are normal, everything is good, but I'm not being able to conceive. And she really didn't want to get into in vitro thing because she was very skeptical about it. And she was like, when everything is okay, my age is good, reports are good, why can't I conceive? And so, we are, as Deepta was mentioning, Dr. Deepta, that, we are really taught to have skilled hands to palpate well and understand well. So even by working around her tissues, the ovaries, the uterus, the tubes, I felt everything was actually quite normal. And so what I noticed there, she had a big scar tissue. And as osteopaths also, we are really trained to look into something called a fascia, which is like a cat suit right under our skin. So as a medical doctor, we had not really given too much importance to fascia. It was just a covering, just a wrapping paper for the main stuff that's inside. But here this wrapping paper is given so much importance, and just working around her scar tissue and working around her fascia, her things in all of her abdomen, all the organs, they release so well. And literally in the next 15 days, she gave me a call saying that she has conceived, and it was like a thing. So now I really don't know if it was coincidence or really it was because of the session, but I would like to attribute it to the scar tissue release there. And so, it for me, it was like an eye opener that there is so much more to a condition or a disease than we just think of. So much beyond the organ and so much of a thinking globally rather than just locally with what the complaint a person presents with. So this is one session that's really close to my heart.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll again come back to you, Dr. Ankita. Now moving to Dr. Prajakta. So Dr. Prajakta, we have been getting a lot of questions from people asking, can this be treated? Can that be treated? So can anything under the sun be treated via osteopathy?
Yeah, everybody has that doubt. Even I had this doubt when I joined osteopathy. Gayatri, it was MSc osteopathy, right? So when I joined, I was a little skeptical also because of the MSc degree. Even my parents were like that. Obviously, after MBBS, nobody wanted to do MSc. And I also had this doubt. It's completely manual and with hands, we are going to treat patient. How can I do this? I was not believing it. But I wanted to do this osteopathy because I felt that this is something I should do. like from inside that voice came, yeah, this is something, this is for me. So when I enter into it, and after this year when I started treating patient, I'm treating many patients, different cases, from child till old age, till 70 80 years old, okay? And all kinds of cases, and I am seeing difference in everyone. There is not a single case which has not shown any difference in their health issues or what. Maybe some of them are taking time, but yeah, it's helping. But for the acute cases, we need allopathy. But for many cases, osteopathy can help everyone.
Yeah. So, Prajita, what do you feel osteopathy can offer in the healthcare field of our time? Like, why should someone with an MBBS degree consider doing an osteopathy program?
Yeah, so as I said before, so now only I like allopathy. When I was in the allopathy, I used to like it, but osteopathy is something that I loved, and I knew how to be with a patient and how to treat actually a person, not just a disease. Now, and in this era, I think we need an integrated health system. There's not one system we should follow. The integration will benefit patient a lot, and that I'm seeing. Even some of the patients are taking allopathic treatment, some of them are taking Ayurvedic treatment. But when they are collaborating it with osteopathy, the results are amazing. So this is a need now, osteopathy. Yeah, combining all the systems together.
Yeah, so another question that has been really bombarding us is what are the different scopes in osteopathy? Like, which are the different careers? Like, you have chosen to be a faculty member. So, like that, what are the different career options they can choose?
Yeah, so those who are doctors, they can start their clinic. Many of our osteopaths, they have started with the private clinic, and they're seeing so many patients. Even if you can collaborate with some hospital also, and you can also join as a lecturer or something. There's so many options which are coming up. And even though I'm a assistant professor in Sri Sri University, I'm also seeing patients. It's not only teaching is my job. I'm also seeing patients along with it. So can do so many things along with osteopathy also.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Prajakta. I'll again come back to you. Now, moving to Dr. Apurva.
Thank you, Gayatri.
So, Apurva, you're currently studying osteopathy at SSU. So,
Yeah.
can you share with us what has been your routine while studying? How many hours of clinical practice do you do? And specifically studying at Sri Sri University.
Yeah. So my coming here to Sri Sri University, it is like one of the best decisions I've ever made. So our routine goes like we get up in the morning, we have 3 to 4 hours of classes, and then we go have our lunch, and then we are like supposed to see around 600 patients in 2 years. So like after our lunch, after 2 o'clock, after 3 o'clock, we are busy till 7 o'clock, and we are seeing patients. And in those hours, we are actually working with those patients, practically working with them, practically practicing all the techniques that we have been taught, diagnosing patients and seeing from where the problem is coming, what is the root cause of the problem. So, for example, if a patient is having back pain, so not just treating the back, but by actually analyzing that the back pain can be due to some problem in the viscera, some problem in the foot. It might be because the fascia is getting affected. So maybe an ankle sprain in the past is affecting the back now. So this way, like integrating everything, all that we've learned from different professors, different techniques, this is how we practice. And it's like 6 to 7 hours of clinical practice that we given for a day. So it has been a very great experience working with patients, seeing different patients with different diseases, and then treating them holistically, not just prescribing them with just medicines, with some painkillers or something, but actually looking into what is the root cause of the disease.
Wow, I totally get it. So, Dr. Apurva, immediately after your MBBS, now you're studying your master's in osteopathy, which is so much different than the way we treat patients for MBBS. So, when you started learning these manual techniques, how was your experience?
Yeah.
When you first started feeling the palpitation or when you got exposed to it?
Yeah. So initially, when I came in the first year, it was a bit difficult for me because as a allopathic doctor, we were not, very much taught how to do palpation. Though it was there, but it was not very well defined, very detailed. So initially, it was a bit difficult for me to do those palpations, feel the organs, feel the liver, feel the different vertebrae. It was a kind of a bit difficult. But as time progressed, I felt that something was unfolding. It was a great thing keeping your hand on the liver, and you could actually feel the liver expressing itself. You can actually feel that the liver or the other organs, they have a different rhythm. Each organ has a different rhythm. So, for example, if there's an organ, liver has a rhythm. The liver moves like this and this. So, as an osteopath, we can actually place our hands, actually feel the rhythm. And then, because we've seen so many patients, we can actually figure out what is the normal rhythm and what is the abnormal one. So, for example, in a patient who's having a normal liver, like maybe liver or some other organ, the movement of the organ would be different. And in a patient where the liver is diseased, then that movement would show a different motion. So that is how, learning those palpatory skills, it was a different experience altogether. It was as if, I never thought that, organs could express themselves in such ways. Even our cranial bones, keeping our hands on the bones, the frontals, the parietals, and seeing them move in a different fashion. So all this was very fascinating. And yes, it has been a great journey.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Apurva. I'll come back to you. Now coming to Dr. Deepta and Dr. Ankita. So both of you have been the first batch of osteopaths at Sri Sri University. When nobody knew what is osteopathy, you all took that step to actually study. What has been your experience in the Sri Sri University campus, being the charter batch of osteopaths, learning completely new techniques, getting exposed to some new concepts, and especially from different international faculty members? Can you share some experiences of yours? So we can start with Deepta first and then come to Dr. Ankita.
Yeah. So, as you said, Gayatri, yeah, this taking up of osteopathy was a huge step. All of us, all 9 of us, I'm sure we all agree with this, that we had a full adventure for the 2 full years. We've learned really so much, and so many concepts have been broken. First thing I really was amazed and learned was osteopathy is not just technique, it's a philosophy. It's a huge philosophy by itself. That itself amazed me so much. One thing which prompted me into osteopathy was the statement which actually spoken before of Andrew Taylor Still. He says a very nice thing. The object of a physician is to find health, not disease. So this was something osteopathy. So I really was wondering what is this? So then I landed up in. So we really had to break our concepts of this is what our all concepts of whatever we've learned in MBBS, we've learned first year of anatomy, we have studied everything on dead bodies. Like we understand the whole anatomy and anatomy on a dead body. So we think, liver is, our understanding about liver is, we have seen on a dead body. What we have studied in a textbook and we have seen on a dead body. That's what is our understanding. Like how Apur was telling about the rhythm of the liver. We never thought there is something like that. So for somebody who has this concept and suddenly you are being initiated into something, we are live, we are health, there is health inside and you can feel it, you can understand it if you are listening to it. That is something which really shifted all our perceptions. Yeah, I think Ankita can take over. She would really add so much to it. Yeah.
To tell you the truth, I have to confess, I was extremely skeptical initially. One, about the subject. So I knew osteopathy is good because I had seen some people really benefiting out of it. But for me, I was like, I want to confess here, like we say, no, like we'll say, okay, Jesus is the way, or Krishna in the Gita says that if you have to attain the ultimate, I am the way. Islam says, Allah is the way. So like that, for me, it was allopathy is the way. Rest, everything is, it's good, but allopathy is the way. That was my mindset. So like Dr. Deepta said, for me, more than making a concept, it was breaking a few concepts that we had. And again, about the subject, then I was also very skeptical about the university. So after I was, say, convinced with osteopathy, I thought might as well go and do it where it is already, happening for so many years. Why come to some place that is new? But I can't tell you how thankful I am that I took the plunge and joined Sri Sri University and not anywhere else. Because this is the place that enhanced our skills like nowhere else. Like Gayatri, you were asking, no? We had teachers from all different schools of thought. We had the best people. Then the environment in the university was so good. And yes, there was adventure for sure, like Dr. Deepta was saying. There was a lot of adventure. There were a lot of things that needed to fall in place for a new course to run. Because when a new course comes along with it, a lot of new requirements come in. And it was something totally new, so no one had an experience of it before. But I can now proudly say that we are all not just students of the charter batch, we are all in a way somewhere involved in forming this whole osteopathy department that has come in place. And just by that, being a part of that formative stages of osteopathy of Sri Sri University, it added so much more to our skills. We had so much to learn with all that also. I want to add here, our first teacher, Professor Dr. Yuget Lambert. So her thing was that your place of treatment, your clinic should be like a place where you go for worship. A place of work should be like that. It should be so clean. How it should be, how how you should have some plant there, how you have a salt lamp, how you have something, and how clean it should be. I remember we were scrubbing the place clean. She said anything that falls there, you should be able to pick it up and eat. It should be so spick and span, so clean. Now, to have that much attention to detail, that is the kind of teachers we had there. And learning everything from scratch, learning so many new things. And it was like a 180-degree change, I would say, in some ways where allopathy was concerned. And in some ways, it was so much in sync with what we have been learning earlier as allopaths, and such an add-on, such a synergistic effect it created, that I'm still blown by the fact that, even when we are reading books by Andrew Taylor Still or anything with the philosophy of osteopathy, it still blows my mind, however many times I read it. So it is like, it's the best thing that could have happened to me personally.
Wow, it's so nice to hear these things. And especially being in the campus, I've been seeing the way y'all used to work and learn so many new things, and we experienced it, so I can completely agree to it.
We would catch all guinea pigs to practice whatever new we have learned. And they were gracious enough to lend their bodies to us.
Yeah, and it has been a big beneficial factor for us, because I understand when I took the first session, they were able to identify my some pain which I could not feel at that time, and it was some 10 years back. And that is the time I realized, how can we just know it just by touching the body? It's really magical for a layman like us to know. Coming to Dr. Prajakta. So Prajakta, you have been from the batch where you had some seniors also, and then now a lot of juniors coming in the Bachelor's of Osteopathy program. And you being a faculty, how are you able to make them understand about these manual techniques? Because they are so new to the field of medicine and they are so attracted to become doctors. So at that time, how are you able to explain them these techniques?
Yeah, Gayatri. This is because the way I learned it, I am doing the same way. Because as an allopathic doctor, we were all about protocols. No? And as an allopath, there are no protocols at all. And it was a little difficult for my mindset also, the way Dr. Ankita said, to break the concepts and then knew another one. And the way I learned how to perceive the body, how to feel the body, the way I learned, I'm doing same with all these newcomers, because I was also new to this field. Though I was in the masters, but I was new to the osteopathy and this palpation field. Same way, they are also in a new way. Those both masters and bachelors for both of them, and that's why I can tell them better because the way I understood it.
So
It's not so
Prajakta, you
difficult for
also
me.
had a lot of choice to also open up your own clinic or to practice in a hospital. What made you choose the field to teach this program?
I don't know really, frankly speaking. But the thing is, the teaching is in my blood also, because my parents are in the teaching field. Everyone, in my grandparents, everyone is in teaching field. And this osteopathy is something that I love osteopathy, from my heart. I really wanted to spread this the way and the students to learn this. And this university, which has given me so much in my life this past 3-4 years, whatever happened in the university and what I'm getting now, the growth happened to me, and I just want to be that. And when you teach, you can learn more. That we say, when you teach, you learn more. So I'm learning more. It's not teaching, I'm learning more now.
Yeah, that's true. Coming to Dr. Apurva. So Apurva, you are just about to graduate from the master's program of osteopathy. How do you see yourself in the next few months?
Yeah. So after I graduate, the first thing that I've thought is that I would want to travel and spread this throughout India. So in the West, it is already very famous, but in India, not many people know about it. So to travel to different areas, different states, and tell people, make them experience, give them sessions, and yeah, this is what I would want to, like, the way I want to give my best to spread this and to help people come out of their problems, people who have been on medications from a long time and are still not getting relief, like for a lot of issues like migraine. People keep taking medicines for years and years, still they don't get any relief. And with osteopathy, with simple manipulation of the cranial bones, we can actually help them. So yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So any one experience, Apurva, that you would like to share, which you currently, the last 2 years that you learned while studying osteopathy?
Yeah. So there was this child who had squint. He was 22 years old, and he had 80% squint in his left eye. And the doctors had told him that obviously he'll have to get operated, because there is for squint there are no major options. Like only surgery is the way, and especially if the squint is like, like 90% squint. So like I worked on that patients, and within 2 sessions, only within 2 sessions, I actually found out that the squint had gone up to like, it had reduced up to 70%, and only 20% of it was left. So it was like a big thing for me, seeing a patient, and it was as well a very big thing for the patient himself. So this was something which made me gain more trust into osteopathy, working with patients like this. And now I still have the photos of that patient having squint, like, 90% squint, also having nystagmus in the left eye. And now there's no nystagmus, and the squint has improved. Some of it is still now left. He might need a few more sessions for that.
Wow, all this when you're still studying osteopathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been getting a lot of messages from people across the country that they really want to know what is the Sri Sri University. So they were really interested to first know what is osteopathy. But after hearing your experiences, they are messaging and asking, can you please tell us more about Sri Sri University? So I would just like to play a short video of the university for all our viewers.
We live in a world that is constantly changing and evolving. to face global challenges, we need people with dynamic personalities. At Sri Sri University, Odisha, the next generation of decision makers and leaders are groomed with a purpose to learn, lead, and serve. It is emerging as a center of premium education in India, blending the best of East and West. This university has a unique approach to education that combines Western innovation with the ancient values and wisdom from the East. It is one of India's first alcohol, drug, and smoke-free campus. Spread across 187 acres of land and located on a hilltop on the banks of the Mahanadi River, the sprawling and beautiful campus is inspired by the ancient universities of Nalanda and Takshashila. Thousands of students from across the 28 states of India and several countries of the world call Sri Sri University their home.
If I had to point out that one thing that really makes me feel special about studying at SSU, it would be that synergy between the students. And that, I think, is the most special thing.
I'm sure that these students will make decisions in the near future that will change the world for the better. I'm really happy to be here, and with every day I understand more how I appreciate this time.
Sri Sri University offers courses from an undergrad to a master's level and also PhDs. Sri Sri University is one of the first universities in all of Asia to introduce osteopathy, a drug-free, non-invasive manual therapy that aims to bring a revolution in the path of medical science. Yoga, meditation, and spiritual values are the foundations on which the university stands tall, and it is these that are shaping the personalities of our students inside out.
You know, there is no ragging happening, there is no one picking on each other. And that is really important, I feel. The environment of the university is such that the emotional quotient automatically develops in a person.
This is my 4th year in SSU, and I have seen a transformation on a very large scale in my life.
It gives you more than it promises, so that's all a person can ask for.
Sports is a way of life at Sri Sri University and is clearly exhibited in this vibrant campus and its students. The annual Fest Orion is a pursuit for brilliance. It is envisioned to be the biggest social celebration in Odisha and Eastern India, with the ambition of becoming the best annual fest in the world. Our alumni have been placed in some of the top multinationals, while some have set forth to create successful startups of their own.
Sri Sri University was one place I looked at where I feel I could learn more than just what's in the books, because at the end of the day, I realized it's a lot about handling people more than systems. It's about actually coming together and making a difference. And you don't find that so easily.
In 2018, Sri Sri University was awarded the Best Bootcamp Startup Award by the government of Odisha. Right from its year of inception, Sri Sri University has been recognized with several other such awards. Our vision is to impart holistic and value-integrated education in order to develop visionary thinkers and leaders. The revolution in education has begun.
So, as we are coming towards the end, I would just like each of you to share one piece of advice to all those aspirants who have been graduating from the MBBS stream or from different streams. One piece of advice for them.
Should I go first?
Yes.
Okay, so practice. I think practice is something which you asked me about the graduating osteopaths, right?
No, the ones who are aspiring to study osteopathy in Srisha University.
Okay, nice. Somebody who wants to do osteopathy, just do it. Because, if you are a person who are willing to help somebody completely, not just superficially, this is a very beautiful medical science where a person can grow out of their illness, not only just person starts becoming independent. This is something which is very close to my heart, which I feel with every patient. The patient is not dependent on you anymore. After a few sessions, they start becoming independent and they start learning their own health and they start becoming better. So this is a beautiful opportunity to help somebody and you feel that satisfaction. At the same time, your health becomes better. Yeah.
Wow. Ankita?
Same, just adding to what Dr. Deepta said, that just do it, because the doubt, like it said, no, Gurudev, Shishi Ravi Shankarji says that the doubt is always on the positive. If we are doubting whether to join it or not, you can understand that it is the positive that we are doubting. We doubt our abilities, right? Not our inabilities. So it is something that will really enhance whatever we are being doing, and it really gives us an opportunity to contribute a lot more and bring a lot more difference in the person we are seeing. I had this just little one thing I would share, Gayatri, that earlier when I was practicing in a hospital as a doctor, I still had that satisfaction of helping someone. But the thing was, the person would walk inside in the clinic in pain and would walk out also still in pain, with a little hole in the pocket for the things they have to buy, the tests they have to do, and a little anticipation whether they will be better or not. But with osteopathy, what has happened is the person walks in pain, but definitely walks out better and with a smile and with a little less tension than he or she had before. So this is something that is very special and gives a lot of satisfaction. So
Wow.
it is one of the things to do.
Dr. Prajakta?
Yeah. So I say, first thing is health is not about only physical health. As a allopathic doctor, I was only thinking about the physical health, but health also has two more aspects: emotional and mental health. And the osteopathy works on all these three levels. When we treat the patient, they get benefited all these three levels. And the second thing is, if you want to do it, just do it. Don't look at the degree. Being a doctor, MBBS, BMS, whatever, we would like to add MD, MS in front of our name. Not adding MS become little difficult, but after completing, this is my experience, after completing the osteopathy and seeing the patient's result, the MSc, the degree doesn't matter. What matters what your patients are getting from you, and this is amazing. If you want to do it, don't look at the degree, just look at osteopathy and then do it.
Wow, thank you. Dr. Apurva? It's on mute. You need to unmute.
So I'm saying all my seniors have already said what they wanted to say and what was needed to be said. But yes, I would want people who are studying in their, who are aspiring to get maybe into, who are now going to get NEET, give NEET, or maybe people who are already doctors. So I would really advise them, I would suggest them that it's a great branch, and you will actually, as a doctor, feel satisfied that you have given your best to the patient and you've been actually able to help that patient out. So that will give you a great sense of satisfaction. And yes, one should go for it, no doubt.
Wow. So to all our viewers, this session was with all the MBBS grads who chose to study osteopathy. Coming up next, we are having physiotherapists who are going to, yes, you can see on the screen. So we are going to have 4 amazing star physiotherapists who chose osteopathy, and they graduated and they're doing amazing in their field. So it's on coming Saturday, same time. You can join us and you can invite more of your friends who are from this field, who would really like to know what is osteopathy and how, as a physiotherapist, it has helped them to understand their patients and to treat them. So the questions that most of you have been asking that what is the eligibility, how is the selection process at Sri Sri University. All the details are available on the website. You can connect with us to know more information, and we are always available to help you in that aspect. So I would like to once again thank each and every one of you who have been a part of this session, who had expressed the interest to be a part of the session, to all our viewers who have been viewing us for the last 1 hour and just listening to all these different experiences, asking questions, sending separate messages that are really enjoying the session and have been really benefiting out of it. So see you again on Saturday with the physiotherapist. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.